So there's a question. You touched on this a little bit, but I think it'll be good, a nice question to get again clear on. Thank you, Doug, for this question. It's, are the overtones created by the sound source, vocal folds, or are they generated by a separate energy in the vocal tract? Does the vocal tract generate energy, or is it a reflection from the source? So I've got, my mind's already turning on how to answer this, but I'd like to hear you answer this. So are the overtones created by the vocal folds or by another energy in the vocal tract? Does the vocal tract generate energy itself, or is it a reflection of the vocal folds of the source?
Yes, it's definitely a reflection. The vocal, the tube doesn't produce energy. It only makes less energy disappear. If you create a space that reflects a wave from the lips back to your vocal cords, and then it fits into the next wave, then you amplify it because less of the energy is lost on the way. So it's not real amplification. You don't add energy, but you collect energy of the whole sound. And then it's a very good question. Where are the overtones produced? I asked this to many experts, and it's not really clear. Because if you imagine you have harmonics going up to ultrasound,
Mm-hmm.
which part of your vocal folds can vibrate with 40,000 um, movements per second? I
Yeah.
cannot imagine. They can only be maybe some molecules or something, some liquid on it. But still, you have these overtones. So I ask them, maybe the overtones are produced in the air tube. You have an explosion of the vocal cords, and you have a pressure coming out, and then they close again. And
Mm.
this pressure produces maybe in the tube some vibrations, like so you have a kind of a drum here that produces the overtones. But there were some scientific investigations on this, and they mainly found out that actually the overtones are produced on the vocal cords. I still can't believe it, but I'm not the one to investigate this. I don't have the equipment for this.
So one study that you've said is indicating that they're produced on the vocal folds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be fascinated, as I think will you and the rest of the science world, to they get more studies examining different elements there. It seems amazing to me that the vocal folds themselves. I mean, the vocal folds are the source, right? That's what creates the wave. And then it's like the logical question for me is then, okay, is that wave being amplified in the vocal tract, or then is the energy in the vocal tract shape then amplifying those overtone frequencies? I mean, if it's just amplifying parts of the sound that's already there, then you could maybe you could postulate that yes, the overtones are already in the bass sound. We're just amplifying them in the vocal tract. What do you think?
No, the amplification comes when overtones meet a resonance frequency in this tube. And the resonances of the vocal tract are not very sharp. This is you still can perceive them as a pitch, but they are not like the resonance frequencies in a trumpet. In a
Right.
trumpet, they have the trumpet has hard walls and very good reflection of the sound waves, and then you get pitches of the resonance that are very sharp. And if you are slightly beside the resonance, you don't have any amplification. But we have soft tissue and liquid on the surface of this tube, and so this is not as sharp. So if you have overtones close to the resonance, you still have some amplification of the sound. So the amplification comes because you have less resistance to the moving of the wave through the tube. Actually, the vocal tract is a kind of a wet pillow.
Yeah.
If you sing into a wet pillow, you don't get much sound out. And if you measure the sound energy directly above the vocal cords, you have sound pressure of 160 decibels or something. It's really loud. It would
Wow.
damage your ears if you really listen to the sound in your throat. So
Hmm.
most of the sound is dampened out, and it's much softer when it leaves your body.
So where's that? I mean, I think we're talking. I'm thinking about the shape. So you're saying the shape inside the pharyngeal tuning, like the tongue pharynx tuning, that is where we're, by putting it in the right shape, that's where we're aligning frequencies that then amplify. They're not really, you said, not gaining more energy, but collecting the energy rather.
Yes. If you have the right shape, then you have a pressure wave going to the lips, and then the space changes immediately because it can spread in all directions, and this makes the wave reflect. Part of the sound energy goes back into the throat, and this um, is lost if you have the tuning of the tube, which is making the wave coming back, disturbing the new wave.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's in phase with the new wave, then it helps the vocal cords to get open.
Mm-hmm.
If the sound pressure comes with a low pressure and sucks it open in the right moment, then you collect all the energy coming from the vocal cords. Otherwise, you have a pressure wave pressing your vocal cords together if it's not in tune. So you need to make a space that has the the ability to create a standing wave of the same frequency you're producing.
Yeah, I think it's so fascinating. I mean, maybe we lost some people on that, but there, this is also what Ingo Tietze describes as inertance,
Yeah.
right? So there's the word inertance. So we have the energy and sound cycling inside of the vocal tract, inside of that tube, and that's affecting directly also the source, the vocal folds, and how they work. So I love the way you say it. If it's in phase with the source, then it actually makes the work of the source more efficient, right?
Yeah. Understanding resonance is not really intuitive to singers. And if you see the mathematical formulation that physicists do for this modeling of the part, it's really complicated. It's not really complicated, but it's difficult to understand if you don't know the mathematics. So it's hard to describe.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm jumping on the chat, and our friend Ken Bozeman, he gave a quick, brilliant short answer to the same question. He says the rarefaction of the pressure at the point of closure is the strongest part of the sound impulse. Paradoxically, not the puff pulse. And yes, the question of the origin of the overtones is still a live question. Uh, yeah, he's wonderful, a scientist, researcher as well, and he's going to be on in March, so we can look forward to that. I hope you'll join us again. Fascinating, fascinating, fascinating. I think I want to thank you. Your demonstrations are just amazing, amazingly accurate, and to hear and be able to see that also in the software, it's just so precise. So thank you for being here today. I want to invite everybody to, as we do all the time, follow the co-hosts, like what they do, join us again on Voice Masters live stream, and please remember, next week we're going to be live on Saturday the 23rd with Wolfgang and thank you so much, Wolfgang, for your time today. I know it's getting late where you're at. Would you like to say anything, any closing remarks?
Yes, thank you all very much for staying with me such a long time. I think
Yeah.
we spent too much time in front of screens recently, and really thankful you are so interested here.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the wonderful comments and questions. And you actually, every question you have helps us share more information. That's the mission. Let's share information, change the world one voice at a time. Wolfgang, have a wonderful weekend coming up, and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, and
We'll
don't be
see you
shy
again soon.
writing me. I can also answer questions on email.
Yeah, that's fantastic. If you have any questions for Wolfgang or would like to get in touch with him, reach out. And just once again, we'll be live on YouTube and Facebook, so follow us on Facebook, our Facebook page, and click subscribe, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click notifications. Then you'll get a notification every time we go live. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful day. If you're not in the mood to hear Thunderstruck by AC/DC, then this is your chance to escape. Bye bye, everybody.